Hi, I'm Janelle Moore. I would like to welcome you to Introduction to Federal Project Management and TechStat. As your course instructor, I have been doing this for a long time. I'm not a professional instructor. I'm actually a practitioner of this work and have been for over 25 years. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Zen Federal, and I have a variety of affiliations. You may be accessing this content through Fit Sourcing, Udemy, Talent Spring, or another vendor. I have been in this role for over 25 years, 13 as Executive Director of the Federal Capital Planning and Investment Control Forum. And almost all of my postgraduate education is in this area. I studied with National Defense University, obtaining a master's in Chief Information Officer Studies and Information Assurance. My Master's of Science is in Information Management from Syracuse University. And I'm not sure if you can see my little I Love Me wall behind me, but there's my East Carolina University degree as well. Go Pirates. So I have many years writing business cases, reviewing them, becoming a project and then a program and then a portfolio manager. I have reviewed, scored, analyzed, and improved business cases for years. I've prepared congressional testimony for congressional hearings. I've met with Congress people. I've worked directly with Office of Management and Budget, General Accountability Officers, all the C-suite executives over the years. And at one time, I was a co-author of a publication called the Capital Planning and Investment Control Guidebook. So hopefully all of this experience that I have will be concise and consolidated into these topics so we can get smart about those together. You will see this slide at the end of the presentation, but this is my contact information. You can reach me on my website at zenfederal.com. I have a link provided to my LinkedIn profile where you can follow me for more updates as courses and content become available. And there's my personal email with my little headshot at the bottom, j@zenfederal.com. So feel free to reach out to me with your questions and comments. And if you like what you saw today, please give us a favorable review as it helps us to educate others through the recommendation and referral process. Your learning objective today is to become more familiar with IT project management and TechStat reporting core concepts. This is a course that should help you if you're a federal employee or a contractor develop a basic understanding about how to more effectively work in federal project management and report in accordance with doctrine such as laws, regulations, and compliance initiatives. I'll provide additional commentary where I can to help you make connections with those relevant laws, statutes, guidance, and governance structures associated with project management in the federal government. Having been a certified instructor for about 10 years, I have charged tens of thousands of dollars to contractors and companies to provide on-site instructor-led training behind closed doors in executive meeting rooms across the government. My goal in providing this content through computer-based learning and distance learning is to make it accessible to folks that either don't have corporate budgets or federal government inroads, but have to get smart about these concepts to apply for project management jobs and transfer skills within the federal government, where we have more demand than we have supply of qualified professionals. So hopefully if this content is reaching you, this is going to get smarter, help you get smarter about applying any project management skills or expertise you have within the federal government. And it's going to help you pair your understanding with the guidance, laws, and drivers that are specific to the federal environment. And some of this is even transferable into state and local governments or other types of organizations. Hopefully, if you're watching this, perhaps you're interested in applying for jobs in the federal government, or you're fairly new to it, or you need continuing professional education. So at the end of these computer-based learning sessions, you'll be able to print out a certificate and use that for your continuing professional education credit. So we're going to talk a little bit today about TechStat and project management. So I'm going to introduce you to some definitions. I'm going to talk to you about the various certifications that are the most common standards in the federal government. I will talk to you about the core project management areas of focus. These are true across the federal enterprise. I'll introduce you to the specific TechStat project management framework that's being utilized now. I'll provide you TechStat definitions, authorities, policy and requirements. I'll provide an article and some context for why TechStat was introduced, considering the government had been project managing for decades before TechStat evolved. I'll give you some context there. Then I'll introduce you to the 5 stages of the TechStat process, a process flow chart, and I'll provide you 2 examples. As I went into different government agencies and departments, looked across the federal enterprise for some TechStat standard policy, and I chose a Department of Homeland Security department level example and the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, which is an agency, component, or bureau level example for those of you who are subordinate to a department, to get some ideas of how to implement this in your agency or organization. Let me introduce you to some concepts that are most commonly recognized as defined through the Project Management Body of Knowledge, PMBOK. That is a body of knowledge that is considered to be an industry standard and industry best practice through the Project Management Institute. So these 3 definitions are some of the most common standards that are accepted both on the federal and the civilian as well as the private sector disciplines of project management. So we'll start with a project. That's a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. In the federal government, a project has to have a life cycle or a useful life of 2 years or less. Then you get to the program level. That's a group of related projects managed in a coordinated way to obtain benefits and control not available from individual management. Now, before we get to the portfolio level definition, some of you may have another grouping in here called investments. And we talk a little bit more about that in the capital planning and investment control training that I offer. But if you have investments, they may not be the same as projects and they may not be the same as programs. Investments could be projects, investments could be programs or projects could have investments and be other things as well. So the federal government definition of an investment is slightly different and not necessarily applicable to this specific teaching. A portfolio is a collection of programs grouped together to facilitate effective management of work to meet strategic business objectives. I actually am building a portfolio management and FITARA learning course that we will be offering. It's not ready yet, but we will get you there. And as you start to see these different learning modules and learning opportunities come out, you will see some interplay and some interconnectivity as I try to connect all the dots of how these things all sort of relate to one another through the governance and capital planning processes that are instituted by the federal government. So if you'd like to reach me, there are several ways to reach me through my website, zenfederal.com. You can follow me and engage with me on LinkedIn, or you can just email me. The email is the letter J at zenfederal.com. If you are looking for work in this area and you need some coaching or mentorship, I do allocate a certain number of hours a month that can be purchased and scheduled through Zen Federal for me to provide coaching and one-on-one support. For those who are looking for more robust training in these disciplines, you can reach me or contact me through my website, and we can arrange more intensive training. My cap is about 35 people at one time over the course of several days, but I do private instructor-led training as appropriate, either through Zoom or Microsoft Teams, or after COVID, in-person training can resume. I also have access to those recruiters and companies that have jobs. So if you're looking for a job in this area and you're not really sure where to start looking, you can schedule an hour or two with me through the company, and I'd be able to look at your resume, make some suggestions, make some recommendations of some other sort of learning opportunities like we have here, and help you get on track. So I hope that you'll reach out to me, give me your feedback, tell me what you want to see, what you want to know, and I can continue to make these learning engagements better for everyone.